Welcome to CinePro. Where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. We see at the beginning of the movie a projector, and we hear the voice of a person speaking. And this person says that evil witches exist and are real, and that they hate children, and that their only goal in the world is to find them and kill them. Then the movie shifts to an 8-year-old boy whose parents die in an accident, after which he goes to live with his grandmother in Alabama. His grandmother makes him stay in his mother's old room when she was a child and leaves him to arrange his things. She goes to make him some cocoa to cheer him up. But since the boy is sitting in his mother's room, where she spent her whole life and kept her memories, he remembers his mother again and feels very sad about losing her. His grandmother tries to cheer him up and does everything she can, but the boy remains in his state. He even refuses to eat anything and won't go out to play with the neighbor's children. At that moment, his grandmother speaks to him from her heart and tells him that sometimes God ordains things we don't want. But that doesn't mean those things are wrong. On the contrary, God always plans good things for us. The boy feels comforted by his grandmother's words and feels better. He actually starts to eat, and the next day his grandmother brings him a mouse to keep so he won't be alone. His grandmother asks him what he will name the mouse, and he tells her he will name it Daisy. After a few days, the boy starts to return to his normal life and begins to care for Daisy and play with her. He even starts dancing with his grandmother, and then we see a strange woman watching them. His grandmother starts coughing a very strange cough. The next day, the boy and his grandmother go to the hypermarket, and the boy tells her he wants to buy some nails to build a house for Daisy. His grandmother gives him money to buy them, and when the boy leaves, his grandmother starts coughing a strange cough again. In the nail aisle, the boy meets the strange woman who is watching them, and she gives him a sweet, but the boy is focused on the snake that is crawling on her hand. As soon as the strange woman realizes the boy is worried, she tells him the snake is tame and not to be afraid. His grandmother is still coughing and notices he's late, so she goes to look for him. As soon as his grandmother finds him, the strange woman disappears. When the boy starts telling her what happened, she quickly pays for what they took, grabs her grandson, and leaves. At home, the boy tells his grandmother more about the strange woman he saw. Then his grandmother asks him some questions and confirms that her suspicions were correct. She tells her grandson that the woman he saw is an evil witch, and that she had seen one with her own eyes before. She tells him that when she was young, she saw a witch give her friend a sweet, and the next day, the girl turned into a chicken. His grandmother tried to tell her friend's family that their daughter had turned into a chicken, but no one believed her and thought their daughter had run away. They took the chicken and put it in the chicken coop. His grandmother used to visit her every day, but she remained a chicken her whole life and never became human again. After telling him the story, his grandmother goes to a secret place in her house, which is full of medicinal herbs and spiritual tools. As soon as she holds a crystal and puts it on her head, she says they must leave and go to an expensive hotel because witches always prey on the poor, so the hotel would be the safest place for them. On the way to the hotel, his grandmother tells him that the whole world is full of witches, all under the command of the ugliest witch in existence, the Grand High Witch. When they arrive at the hotel, the grandmother goes to book the room they will stay in, and her grandson sees a boy whose mother treats him badly and waves at him. Suddenly, the grandmother starts coughing again, and as soon as they enter the elevator, a large group of witches enters the hotel, led by the Grand High Witch. The hotel manager comes and welcomes them. After seeing their cat, he tells her that animals are not allowed in the hotel. The Grand High Witch asks him what he would do if he finds mice in the hotel, and the manager replies that he would call a special company to get rid of them. The Grand High Witch is very pleased with his answer. At night, we see the grandmother coughing hard in her bed and telling her grandson that the cough is a sign of witches' presence, and that witches are not really women, they are demons. You can always recognize them by their makeup, their big nostrils, the gloves they wear because their hands have only 3 fingers, and their high heels because their feet are deformed. They also wear wigs to hide their bald heads. She reassures him that witches won't be able to hurt them because they don't know where they are. They get ready to sleep, but we see the Grand High Witch's cat spying on them and quickly going to the Grand High Witch's room. The next day, the boy orders a very respectable breakfast from the hotel because his grandmother is very happy with the breakfast he brought. So she gives him permission to go play on the beach or anywhere he wants, and wanders around the hotel until he stops at a room with a sign saying "Children's Meeting." Before he enters, he meets Bruno, the boy he waved to at the reception, who tells him that he's going to meet a nice lady who promised him 6 chocolate bars if he came to the meeting. But his mother comes and drags him away by the ear. At that moment, the boy enters the room alone, and suddenly, the witches enter. The boy quickly hides under the stage before they see him. The witches lock the room with a board, and the Grand High Witch smells something strange. Then she tells the witches with her that everything is safe, and tells them to take off their wigs and show their bald heads. The Grand High Witch starts yelling at another witch because she failed to lure a child and kill him. Another witch asks, if they are going to kill the children anyway, why do they turn them into mice first? The Grand High Witch kills her for objecting and then says it's a good question and begins to explain her plan. She says they will open a candy shop with all the money in room number 666 and put on these sweets will get a serum. And this serum will turn the children who eat the sweets into Fran. Then they will be able to kill them very easily. And then she says that she caught the child Bruno for the meeting and told him that he will take 6 chocolate bars. But suddenly the Supreme Witch smells the child and turns the stage upside down. But she does not find anything. And before she discovers the boy's location, Bruno enters and the Supreme Witch replaces him with chocolate. And as soon as Bruno is eating it, he has strange seizures and turns into a mouse. And the High Witch orders the rest of the witches to kill the mouse. And Bruno runs in the middle of them in fear to jump into the ventilation shaft. We see the boy and Daisy hiding. And a girl is surprised that Daisy knows how to talk and runs to help Bruno. And Daisy actually succeeds in saving Bruno and takes him to the place where they are hiding. The witch knows where the boy is hiding and runs outside and tries to give him the oven serum. But the boy refuses to open his mouth, so he gets a dot in his ear. And the boy has the same strange seizures and turns into a mouse. After that, the boy escapes from the witches with the help of Daisy and Bruno, and the 3 of them enter the ventilation shaft. The High Witch tries to catch them and sticks her hands inside the shaft, but they runs away from her, and her hands get caught in the fan, and she injures her 3 fingers. After that, the mice stop to rest for a while, and Daisy speaks, saying that the witches turned children into mice to kill them easily, and that she was a beautiful girl long ago, but she was also transformed and managed to escape before they killed her. The boy decides to go with them to his grandmother's room, and they pass by the kitchen on the way. As soon as they reach the grandmother's room, one of the hotel staff sees them and tries to kill them. At the last moment, before she kills them, the grandmother opens her room to check the source of the noise. The mice rush inside, and the staff member decides to lock the grandmother in with the mice to control the situation until they call a pest and rodent control company. The boy starts talking and explains to his grandmother what happened, and the grandmother understands that the boy was turned into a mouse by the witches. Daisy also speaks and tells that a year ago she escaped from an orphanage, took some candy from a stranger, and has been a mouse ever since. She also tells them her real name is Mary, and the boy tells his grandmother about the Grand High Witch's plan and that she is looking for them to kill them. As soon as the grandmother hears the plan, she brings her bag, puts the mice in it, and hides them from the pest and rodent company. Bruno struggles to resist the cheese in the trap. After the exterminator leaves, the grandmother tells them she might be able to make an antidote for the mouse serum, but only if she has the original mouse serum. They all decide to get it. They watch the Grand High Witch and see her putting the serum in the fridge. Then she leaves. The grandmother brings something like a piece of cloth, puts the boy in it, and lowers him with a rope. The boy manages to actually steal a bottle and heads back to the cloth so his grandmother can pull him up. But on the way, the Grand High Witch enters with her cat and blocks his path. She then opens a cupboard full of money. The boy takes advantage of her distraction and quickly runs to the cloth and climbs. His grandmother tries to pull him up quickly, but the Grand High Witch catches them. The Grand High Witch speaks to the grandmother and tells her, "I feel like I've seen you before." The boy is terrified and feels like his end is near. At that moment, the hotel manager comes in and tells her he brought her a cage for her cat. The Grand High Witch is very annoyed by the cage and says her cat doesn't like being locked up. But the surprise is that her cat walks into the cage on its own and likes it very much. She is very frustrated by what the cat did, and then tells the manager angrily that he must make sure her soup is without salt and garlic. The manager leaves, and the Grand High Witch locks her cat in the cage. Meanwhile, the grandmother takes the mouse serum and tries to reverse its effect, but unfortunately, she fails. This means the mice will stay as they are and will not turn back into children. The grandmother is very sad because she failed to cure them, and the boy tells her it doesn't matter what he looks like as long as she will always care for him. His grandmother promises she will always care for him and his friends. Daisy encourages them, saying they can defeat the witches even as mice. The boy suggests putting the mouse serum in the witch's soup to save the children from their evil. Indeed, the grandmother takes the mice to carry out the plan. The mice sneak into the kitchen and put all the serum in the soup without garlic. Unfortunately, one of the cooks sees the boy as he leaves and reports him to the pest company. We then move to Bruno, who tells the grandmother where his father and mother are, and she decides to talk to them and tell them the truth about their son. As soon as Bruno appears in front of them, they are terrified and scream hysterically. After that, the boy and Daisy return to the grandmother and get into her bag. They watch the witches eating their soup, and the hotel manager suddenly appears and asks her about the mice she is hiding, but the grandmother denies it. She threatens to reveal to the hotel guests that there are mice in the hotel. To silence her, he books her the fanciest table in the restaurant. The table is close to the witch's table. Before the Grand High Witch takes her first spoonful, she notices the grandmother's presence. She goes to her and says she remembers where she saw her before and mocks her. She tells her she tried to turn her friend into a chicken. But suddenly, the Grand High Witch's features change because she sees the witches starting to turn into mice and they look very ugly. The mice take advantage of the Grand High Witch being distracted and steal the room key from her forehead. Chaos spreads everywhere. At the same time, the grandmother and the mice go to room 666. Inside, they find a very large amount of mouse serum. The grandmother decides to take it all, but a bottle falls under the bed. The mice go down to get it. At that moment, the Grand High Witch enters the room and sees the grandmother stealing the serum. She attacks her and threatens to kill her. As she advances to kill her, the mice push the trap onto her leg and make her drink the mouse serum. The Grand High Witch turns into an ugly mouse and chases the mice among the traps. But the grandmother puts a glass bowl over her and puts books on top. The mice search the whole room for the key to the money cupboard. In the end, they find it and open the cupboard to find a huge amount of money and a book containing the names of all the witches in the world. The mice and the grandmother plan to hunt all the witches and turn them into mice. Before they leave the room, the grandmother brings the Grand High Witch's cat and puts it in the room with her, telling them to have a good time together. The next day, the grandmother and the mice leave the hotel, very happy with what they did to the Grand High Witch. She gives everyone she meets in the hotel a big tip. She then goes to Bruno's mother and gives him a chance to talk to her. He tries to explain that he is her son, but the witch turned him into a mouse. But unfortunately, his mother does not accept that he is her son. Bruno decides to live with the grandmother, the boy, and Daisy forever. We then see them at home, the mice riding toys, enjoying themselves very much. The boy tells his grandmother, "Even though I turned into a mouse, I still feel like a human." She tells him that she will always see him as her grandson. Since mice have a short lifespan, the boy decides not to waste any time with his new family. We see the grandmother and the mice dancing together at Christmas, and the projector continues to show pictures of the grandmother and the mice's adventures, as well as pictures of the car they bought, which they labeled witch hunters. At the end of the film, we see the boy has become an old mouse, and we understand that the voice from the first scene of the film during the projector show was the boy's voice, and he was telling the story to other children. He tells them that after defeating the witches in Los Angeles, they will expand their mission and hunt witches all over the world, turning them into mice and saving children from them. The children start cheering for the mouse, and we learn that these children are his army, recruited to help hunt witches. The children quickly leave the room, and the grandmother goes to the boy and says to him, "Are you ready, hero?" He replies, "I've never been more ready for anything than I am now." And here we come to the end of our film. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.